Hello, YouTube, and hello, NetWriter. This is my response to your tag for the 5 facts tag. This isn't the first time I've done this, so I hope I'm not redoing anything, but I'm going to try to go through this. My first fact is that I went to the University of Southern California before I graduated from high school. I'm not really that brilliant. Actually, it was the summer before my senior year in high school, and I was slated to be the editor of my high school newspaper. And so I went to a workshop for high school students at USC. The teacher was a professional journalist named Don Desfor, and so this was a great experience, and it is where I learned to smoke. Now well, anyway, I'll just go into the story here. On the campus of USC at that time, it was okay to smoke any place on campus, including in class. This was an adult school. This wasn't a high school, a place for just kids. And well, I met this girl. Her name was Linda. She was from Palm Springs, and I was utterly smitten, and she smoked. And I didn't want to put a damper on any possibilities, so she gave it me, and I did smoke. I learned how to smoke, and well, to make a long story short, by the end of that summer, I had lost the girl, but it took me 27 years to lose the habit. Let's see. Number 2, in the 1970s, I was second tenor in the Pasadena Chorale. We sang classical music. We sang the oratorio Elijah of Mendelssohn at the Pasadena Civic Auditorium. And it was a great experience. I had already sung in college and in the chorale in college, so I had some experience, and I tried out for the chorale, and I was surprised that they accepted me. It was great. Let's see, and that was only one of the many stages I was to perform on. In the later 70s, I took up acting, and I performed in 21 plays. Mostly in equity waiver and dinner theater productions, but I did community theater and let's see, well, community theater also. The best thing that I was in was Fiddler on the Roof. I played Laser Wolf, the butcher. That's the one who's supposed to marry Tevye's older daughter. And then she decides she wants to marry Muttle the tailor, and there's a big conflict in there. Anyway, it was a great experience. It was a lot of fun, and I performed in a number of other plays, most of the musicals. I was Marcellus Washburn in The Music Man. I even did the Shapoopy number that you probably saw Buddy Hackett do. And in the Shapoopy number, I kicked over my head. For a short, tubby guy like me, that was really quite an accomplishment at the time. And I played in Annie Get Your Gun, believe it or not, as Sitting Bull. Now, I've always been kind of a roundy, let's say, well, truth to tell, I'm fat. I'm a short, squat, fat guy, white guy, who was given the part of a wiry Indian named Sitting Bull. You should have seen me in buckskin and feathers, a long feathered headdress that went all the way to the floor. Oh, it was magnificent. That was a lot of fun to do. Let's see, that's number 3. Number 4, I did this once before, by the way. I already recorded this once, but I put in so many details that I ran out of time. In 1972, I was in Tokyo, Japan, on a world trip, and at night I decided to leave the hotel and just strike out on my own, alone, on the Ginza in Tokyo. And I got a little ways, and my sense of direction is usually pretty good. But I got distracted. This young man comes up to me, a guy in a suit. He looks pretty slick. And it didn't take me long to realize, even from his heavily accented English, that this guy was a pimp. He asked me, he says, "We have gers," he said, "very crean. Would you like to get fucked or sucked?" I said, "No thanks," and I continued walking. Now, I've been approached before in the United States, and when you say no, the guy just goes away. This guy followed me down the street, trying to convince me. And so I crossed the street. Damned if the guy didn't follow me across the street. About this time I realized that in Japan, prostitution is illegal, but it's winked at by the police as long as nobody complains. So I said, "Do I have to call the police?" Immediately the guy just faded into the night, and I didn't see him anymore. But I'd been distracted, and by this time I didn't know where I was. I was lost in the heart of one of the world's biggest cities, and I didn't speak the language. I went up to people all over the place saying, "Imperial Hotel? Imperial Hotel, please help me." But Imperial Hotel, even though it's one of their great hotels in Tokyo, isn't what the Japanese would call it. In their country, I'm illiterate. So I had a horrible time, and I was panicking. I turned a corner, and I happened to see the revolving door that I had come out of the hotel. It was really hard to find this place because it's not like Las Vegas where they have, a big marquee and lots of lights and everything. They had a relatively obscure door with a sign over it, but it's in Japanese characters, and so something that I wouldn't have been able to recognize otherwise. The grandeur of this hotel is all on the inside. It was a beautiful place, beautiful hotel. The original Imperial Hotel was destroyed during World War II, and this was brand new after the war, so it was really gorgeous. Let's see. And I think I have enough time now for the rest of it because I didn't before. In 1961, I was the editor of my high school paper, as I said before, and I spent a couple of days in the United States Navy on what was called a Day in the Navy for high school journalists. The deal was that we spent one day on the base at Long Beach, and then we went out for maneuvers at sea on an aircraft carrier. Now, this was a baby aircraft carrier. Her name was Thetis Bay. Let's see, her official designation was CVE 90. She was originally commissioned in 1944 and actually didn't see action during World War II. She ferried airplanes and supplies and troops from either San Francisco or San Diego to Pearl Harbor and to other areas of the South Pacific, but they didn't have fighters or bombers or anything taking off from her deck. This aircraft carrier was too small for that. Later, she became what was called an amphibious assault carrier. Was supposed to have been used in Vietnam, but I don't think she ever was. I'm running out of time again. I got to be careful here. Anyway, I was in the Navy, but I wasn't. I was at USC, but I wasn't. Kind of a hit or miss career. Let's see, it says 9 minutes and 8 seconds coming up here, so I've only got a little bit less than a minute to finish this up. I need to tag some people. I'm only going to tag 4, and one of them is actually already, I got in touch with everybody to say, "Is it okay if I tag you?" And TruthSurge said, "Yeah," and then he's already put out his video, so his is kind of like before the fact. And I'm tagging Zthustra and DavidRandalCurtis. And I haven't had a chance to ask CDK007, but I hope he will also answer this tag. And that, yeah, that would be 4. I had to eliminate a couple